there, I'm Lauren and I work with solar cutters in marketing and partnerships. Today I'm joined with Jack Hooper. Welcome, Jack. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Lauren. How are you?
Good, thanks. Congratulations on winning the Solar Cutters Contribution Award. That's fantastic.
Yeah, appreciate that. Very, very happy to hear that.
How does it feel to be acknowledged by the Solar Cutters community by your contributions to our industry?
Oh, look, it's obviously a great feeling. It was come as a bit of a surprise. I certainly didn't start, the conversation around the RMA claim process with manufacturers for recognition for an award. It was just, we were feeling the pain, and I knew others were, and if somebody had to do something about it. So no, it's good to be recognised by the people that you respect within the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So given your success you are having with the inverter manufacturers and supporting your fellow business owners and solar professionals, what else is on the horizon for Jack Hooper in influencing change for the better?
Look, I think success is a relative term. I don't think we're quite there yet with the RMA claim process, but I think I think I'm seeing people becoming a lot more aware of what their rights are. And I think manufacturers are becoming more aware of their obligations, particularly manufacturers' indemnity, which I think was very little understood amongst manufacturers prior. So I think it's about raising that awareness, and I think it's really just about starting a dialogue between manufacturers and installers to try to work out a path forward to ensure that looking after these systems is at least cost neutral for us as installers, and it's at a low as cost as possible, I suppose, for the manufacturers. So I think we're getting there, but in terms of other things happening in the industry, I think there's some positive change coming in 2022 with the new requirements released by the Clean Energy Regulator, and I think the Clean Energy Regulator taking a stronger stance on install quality, installers being on site while the installations are happening is positive. I see a lot, and I know a lot of installers that sign off on 2 jobs a day, and they haven't even been on site. So this should hopefully crack down on a lot of that, and should see, I think, a really good improvement next year for those companies doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did your role on the CEC board help in your understanding of our industry and the challenges we face? And was there anything in particular that you learned that you want to share with us?
Look, I think I probably went into the role as a director on the board of the CEC quite naive to what would be required of me. I sort of went in there hoping that I could advocate for installers to try to improve things within the industry. But the reality is that the CEC aren't a regulator. They accredit, they're accreditation body. They accredit installers. They don't regulate. That's what the Clean Energy Regulator does. So they have a limit to what they can actually do, and I think this change in process with the regulator being more involved will actually be positive for everybody. And at the end of the day, your position as a director on a board of an organisation like that is to assess risk, budgeting, financial, looking at strategies, those sorts of things. You can raise issues, which I did regarding the industry, and I can obviously provide a lot of guidance to the other directors that aren't at the coalface in the solar industry about the challenges and issues we're facing, and provide that context. But very little about what I was doing was actually involved in advocating for installers, I suppose, which it was a bit disappointing, but I enjoyed my time there, and I think it really opened my eyes to the challenges that we face as an industry, and how how the industry is regulated and who's ultimately responsible for it. And
Yeah.
I think now that I've stepped down, I feel like the sort of gloves are off for me a little bit, and if I can see an opportunity to advocate for, better outcomes for installers, like this RMA claim process, then I'll do that, and I'll be a bit more outspoken about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. And just now a bit closer to home, how has 2021 gone for Gem Energy, given all the challenges with COVID and our industry? Are you expecting bigger and better things from your team in 2022?
Look, we've had we had a really, really tough 2021.
Yeah.
We still grew as an organization, but we're quite fortunate with a couple of large commercial contracts that we had. But the residential side of our business didn't perform very well at all, frankly. We had a contraction of around 30% in that year on the previous year. Uh, but we've had a really slow start to 2022 in terms of financial year in terms of revenue, but the contracts have been really good, so we're winning a lot of projects, so we can see that consumer confidence is coming back, and commercial installations are starting to go ahead again. But no, I think a lot of premium installers suffered last year, as people started tightening the belt early during COVID and started going for those cheaper sort of installers, I suppose, to try to save cost. But no, the 2022, it looks like it's going to be a good year, and I think we're already looking very positive going into financial year 23 with a lot of large contracts that we'll announce soon. So it's been a really tough year or two, but we've learned a lot about the industry, and I've certainly learned a lot about the business and managing the costs within the business to ensure that the business is being profitable. To stop, it's quite. For example, I went through our accounts and I found subscriptions to chatbot services that we don't use anymore, and you find all those little things when you're forced to deep dive into the business. And we pulled out hundreds of thousands of dollars of unnecessary expenses, and that's now set a better foundation for us going forward. So, I think all in all, it was tough, but there's a lot of positives to take out of it. And I think, those positives will now carry through for the next few years.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to look at it. So look, thank you, Jack, for your time and congratulations on your award. Do you have any closing words for the Solar Cutters community?
Look, if I was to close on anything, I'd probably like to loop, back to, the purpose, I guess I'm on the call today, which is around the inverter RMA payment structure. Is, it's almost impossible to actually go and replace an inverter according to the payment amount that you're given under the set structure by inverter manufacturers. So, as we all get a bit older as companies and the amount of installations that you have under your management increase, we're forced by the ACCC to be the first point of contact for customers. So customers are always going to come to us, and the ACCC mandate that. And then it's our responsibility to go and replace those inverters, and then obviously invoice the manufacturers for doing so. Under manufacturers' indemnity, which is part of the Australian consumer law, manufacturers have to reimburse us for any costs that are fair and reasonable with replacing that product. Now, unfortunately, what that does is it means that as a manufacturer, how do you possibly budget to replace equipment if it's a blank check? So I think manufacturers need to do a lot of work about how their RMA process is administered. And I think, from an installer, don't take this as an opportunity to then just say, well, I'll just charge them whatever. If you want to maintain your relationships with the manufacturers and that you've got a 5-hour return drive to go and fix an inverter, then you should let the manufacturer know ahead of time so you can actually work out how you can go and do that at the least cost possible. So having an open dialogue with manufacturers is really important, and I would really urge manufacturers to consider, taking more of an active role in managing the inverters that are installed out in the field by potentially having a central management system where you take more responsibility and potentially build out your own subcontractor network. And if you're replacing tens of thousands of inverters a year, you've got the procurement power then to actually negotiate stronger rates and make it economical for everybody. But always active on the Solar Cutters Facebook page, and if there's any questions people are always free to send me a message on Facebook or put a post in the Solar Cutters page, and I'll jump in and provide some advice where I can.
Awesome. That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Jack. And you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thanks, Lauren. You too.